Please introduce yourself.
I'm Kurt Schabach. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for Federated Wireless.
I'm Nandini Ramani, and I'm responsible for monitoring and observability at AWS.
I'm Chris McKenna. I'm Head of Business Development for Private Networks for AWS.
Thanks for your time. And I'm Sapar Marabanzat, Chief Development Officer, Federated Wireless. Kurt, enterprises are increasingly learning of the benefits of shared spectrum operation. Can you tell us more about how shared spectrum operation, such as CBRS, is well suited and benefits 4G, 5G private wireless network deployments?
Sure, thanks, Sepper. So, private networks really put the power of connectivity into the hands of the enterprise. And shared spectrum underpins that capability by creating a very open ecosystem model that allows for customers, our partners, to easily deploy a private 5G network to meet the needs of their enterprise. We are an ISV partner for AWS, and what that means is we help customers with the design, deployment, and operation of those networks. And through that capability, we run all that on AWS infrastructure. As I said, unlocking this really unique connectivity option for enterprises to improve the quality of their connectivity, really move the cost into their full control, and shared spectrum being the key enabler for that.
That's great. Thanks, Kurt. And Chris, can you share with us more about the recent announcement from AWS on integrated private wireless offering, and how do you see this offering evolve into a fully hosted storefront?
So last week we made an announcement of the AWS Integrated Private Wireless Program. This is a program specifically designed to help partners do exactly what Kurt was describing there, which is to build, operate, and scale private wireless. And we do that by bringing our edge ecosystem into play. We do that by pre-integrating ISVs for connectivity solutions. We do that by then connecting that to our cloud services, of which are over 200 today. And lastly, we bring our over-the-top application ISVs to sort of complete the picture as a full end-to-end solution. And we then work with our partners, such as Federated Wireless, to build that together into a managed services offering, and then offer that through a new storefront that we've deployed as part of this program. So that is, we're calling that the Integrated Private Wireless Portal, a bit of a mouthful. And on there, you'll see soon Federated Wireless solutions.
That's awesome. That's great. Thanks, Chris. Nandini, there's not enough time for us to cover observability and control as you and I like, and broadly. But can you share with us your views of how observability and control enables private wireless, and where do you see its application to private wireless networks?
Yeah. So I think broadly, telcos, as well as any network provider, and also the complexity that Chris was referring to in private networks, the challenges, I think, are threefold. One, high cardinality data. So you have observability metrics from all of these different devices and end users, particularly with smart devices these days, emitting so many metrics. And the second one is to build out this complex private 5G, it's typically multi-vendor. And multi-vendors come with their own monitoring solutions, which makes it more challenging and not a single pane of glass. The third, last but not least, is you have operational metrics like IT data, and you also have network data, and each of them have their own tools. So you don't have a single view, and there's no correlation across those. So we use, and we're partnering with Federated, as you know, with integrating CloudWatch from the ground up. So you have observability at scale. One of the tidbits I like telling people, CloudWatch emits 9 quadrillion metric events every month. So 9 quadrillion, just to think of it, it's like dollar bills stacked, not end to end, but on top of each other, 6.6 times to the sun and back. So that's the scale at which we operate. And so integrating those solutions at the upfront, I think, is super critical for private 5G as well.
That's great. That is amazing, actually, in terms of number of transactions that Amazon CloudWatch actually supports. Chris and Kurt, I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you hear from the customers that actually have deployed private wireless networks? What are the stories? The good, bad, and ugly, please.
I mean, one trend that we're seeing, before I give a few interesting elements, one trend that we're seeing is that the conversations we're having with customers are no longer just about networks. They are about solving a business problem. So that tends to be very focused on specific industries. So it's, one solution for one industry may not be valid for another industry. So we're seeing a very industry verticalized approach start to emerge. But in all those conversations, there are three consistent points that we keep hearing. Enterprises don't like high upfront CapEx costs. They're not used to it anymore. The enterprise market solved that in IT long ago. So they don't expect it. Enterprises don't like high complexity. They don't want to pre-integrate core and radio solutions and applications on top of those. They don't have the skills. They shouldn't need to have the skills. And then thirdly, with complicated or complex networks comes long timescales. So enterprises don't want to wait a year or a year and a half for a big complex design to take place and then another 6 months to get it operational. They want faster time to market. So those three are key areas that we're aiming to solve.
Kurt, what do you think?
Those are all great points, and we really are attacking every one of those issues sort of head on. From the complexity standpoint, we work with customers to understand their use case and really abstract all the complexity out by developing templated solutions that include the packet core and RAN and other necessary components to achieve the private wireless components that they need on their enterprise. From the cost standpoint, we're driving large ecosystems. AWS knows more than anyone how to build massive ecosystems, and that is really fundamental from everything from the equipment perspectives to drive scale, to the applications to reduce cost. And also we're bringing these capabilities to customers as a service. So, by doing that, they can translate CapEx into OpEx, and we're bringing down the overall costs. And in terms of time to market or sort of time to success for the customer, what we're doing there is really sort of driving very efficient deployment models. We can today sort of go from the point at which the customer is ready to transact to actually having a network operational in the course of anything from maybe a couple weeks to a few days to have it fully up and running for the customer. So really tremendous in terms of the velocity of what we can do things with customers today.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Kurt.
AWS, obviously, their capabilities make all that possible.
No, that's great. It's great that you guys actually have, the real customer stories to tell, and that's great. And it's really that going back to you, Nandini here, they talk about cost, deployment, time, and all that stuff. But you and I know best that at the end of the day, it's all about operation, right? So in your view, what do you see as essential for the success of these private wireless networks? This is for customers that the new entrants, the ones that are deploying the private wireless network for the first time. What do you see as essential for their success?
So in typical AWS style, let me tell you through a customer story. So BT Group, British Telecom, they've deployed CloudWatch. So they have millions of these Smart Hub 2 devices, which are CPE devices, the consumer premise equipment, on which they run all of their Wi-Fi, broadband, all of those, and the DEC devices recently. So in order for them to meet their KPIs on latency, jitter, packet loss, what have you, drop calls, all of these things, they've integrated CloudWatch into their systems. So at any time they know the direction of the transaction, inbound, outbound, emergency calls, et cetera, and it helps them maintain the quality of service for all of their customers. And you can only do that if you're proactively thinking about observability and monitoring. As they say, you can't manage what you can't measure. And Absolutely. So we're very data-driven, and so integrating, making it easy so we take the management burden of all these services, I think is critical. So that's one example is the BT Group.
That's great.
Their use.
So do you see the easy button really getting delivered through observability and monitoring?
It's one of the mechanisms, right?
Right.
Like set up, how you configure, how you set up, and then how you operate and observe, I think
Right.
is super critical. So I'm a big believer in it.
Yeah, so am I. And probably an unfair question for me to turn around and ask, Chris, do you see the easy button being delivered through the digital storefront?
That's the plan. I mean, the storefront will enable the easy button for ordering and consumption.
Right.
I think through the tool sets that we can provide together after deployment of the network, I think it will ultimately define the success or the failure of a project.
Okay, that's great. And last but not least, Kurt, where do you see the industry going? Is the easy button more shared spectrum or digital storefront or observability? Where do you see this is going?
Well, it's definitely all those things.
All those
and
things,
more, actually.
right.
But, Chris made a great point. Yeah. It's about business success. And one key area that we're really focused on and what we continue to focus on in terms of growing private wireless is developing more use cases that we can solve more problems for customers. So I think that's a key component, obviously, in terms of where this is headed, is broadening the market opportunity. In addition to that, clearly we as a shared spectrum expert, we're focused on bringing more spectrum resources to the market and getting more efficient in terms of how we manage that. It's a tremendous capability, so it's really exciting that we all get to work on this together in terms of truly where the future is headed for the enterprise.
Well, that's great. Well, I tell you where I see the easy button. The easy button comes to me by relying on experts like you. So thank you. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us, Sepper.